So guys, we'll have no class this Wednesday because I'm gonna be out of town. So not yet, right? You have to be crying. 보고 싶을 거야. And then so don't come to class. We won't see you. I won't see you. So see you next Monday instead, okay? Okay. Last week we talked about phoneme and allophones, right? And we looked at several examples of phonemes and allophones in English and also in Korean. And then we move on to syllable structure. If you remember, we draw syllable trees, right? We draw tree structures for a syllable, and we talked about how to syllabify a word, right? So we talked about that, and we talked about phonotactic rules. In English, how sounds are arranged, right? You can have up to 3 sounds in the beginning of a word, right? The first has to start with S, the second one has to P, T, or K, and the last one L, W, R, and Y. So that's what we talked about last time, right? You need the phonotactic rules in order to understand how to syllabify words, right? So that's what we talked about last week. Today we'll talk about phonological changes. In other words, we'll talk about sound changes. So what changes can happen to sounds? What kind of process could make a sound change to another sound? That's what we'll talk about, okay? So we'll use the PowerPoint slides that I sent out last week, but we didn't finish. So we'll just get to that PowerPoint file. So phonological processes, right? This is where we'll start, okay? So phonological has to do with sound, right? So sound processes. So when we talk in everyday conversation, we talk fast, right? And our speech is continuous, meaning it goes on and on, right? And as a result, neighboring sounds, meaning sounds that are next to each other, okay? Nearby sounds, okay? Sounds that are close to each other may affect each other, okay? And the major motivation behind these processes is ease of articulation, meaning sound changes happen because we want to make the pronunciation easier, okay? And we'll study different processes such as assimilation, elision, or insertion, obscuring of vowels, and so on. So today we'll talk about those processes, okay? So those processes are processes of sound changes. The first process that we'll talk about is the process of assimilation, okay? The process of assimilation happens when two sounds occur in sequence, meaning next to each other, right? And some feature, anything, could be voicing, could be manner, could be place of articulation, any feature at all that you have already studied is copied by the other segment, by the other sound, okay? So in this case, one sound will become similar to the neighboring sound, okay? So assimilate means to make similar, right? It comes from the verb, the word similar, right? So assimilate is to make similar, to make the same. So one sound will become more like another sound, okay? And there are many types of assimilation depending on what feature is copied, okay? There are many types of assimilation depending on what features, like voicing or manner or place of articulation is copied. For example, vowel nasalization. In this case, when you pronounce the word pen like this, right? The N, which is a nasal sound, right, comes last. So it is not possible for the air here, for the vowel, to be nasalized. But because we anticipate that we pronounce the N at the N sound at the end. So we nasalize the vowel here, okay, in advance before we even pronounce the N sound. So we say pen, like that, pen. You will hear the nasal resonance, right? So I use this kind of symbol like this to show that the vowel has been nasalized, okay? So in other words, you nasalize the vowel here in anticipation of the end. You anticipate, you expect the end will happen, will occur. So you nasalize the vowel here, okay? So you nasalize it at the same time as you pronounce the N, or even before you pronounce the N, okay? So that's vowel nasalization. And the second one is alveolar nasal assimilation, okay? So in this case, you change the alveolar sound into a nasal sound, okay? Because of the sound next to it. So the word sandwich, for example, in fast speech, okay, in regular speech, the D is often deleted. So the D is gone. In fast speech, we don't say sandwich like that, okay? So the D is usually deleted. So what happened is you have only N and W together, right? The D has been deleted. Now the N is the alveolar sound, right? But you know that you will pronounce the W afterwards. The W is the bilabial sound. So N cannot stay where it is, cannot stay at the alveolar ridge. So the N changes to M, okay? Because you expect the bilabial from the W. So when you pronounce it sandwich like that, okay? And then nasal assimilation, this is like vowel nasalization, but it just happened to consonants rather than to vowels, okay? This is like the first case that you just saw, but it happens to just consonants. So can be, the word can be, the phrase can be, is usually pronounced can be. It can be that, it can be this, like that. Can go, right? So in changes to N with the tail, right? Can. Because you see the G is a vela, right? G is a vela. So you have a nasal vela here, vela nasal, which is the N with the tail. So it changes, okay? In the first one, can be, N changes to M because because you expect the bilabial from the B sound, okay? So you can see that two sounds match in terms of the place of articulation. M and B are bilabial, and N with the tail and G are velar. So they match in terms of the place of articulation, okay? And last one, voicing assimilation. In the word have to, when we just pronounce them separately and carefully, we say have to, like that, right? But in fast speech, you know that you will pronounce the word to anyway. T is a voiceless sound, okay? So V cannot stay voiced as it is because it's influenced by the T. So the V will change to F, which is the voiceless version of the V, right? So have to, like that, have to, right? So the voicing is gone from the V to F because of the T, like that, okay? Again, assimilation is the influence of the neighboring sound or the next sound, okay? And then English plurals, in English, plurals like books or bags. We'll talk about this when we talk about morphology, but words like books, plural, when you pronounce the word, it is S because K is voiceless, like that. But when you have S after the word dogs, for example, it will be dogs, will be a C, okay? Because the sound before it is voice. So it has to match, okay? Like that. Or the ED in English as well. We'll talk about that more, but it's another example of voicing assimilation. So to be similar in terms of voice, to be similar in terms of nasalization, to be similar in terms of nasalization and alveolar, and then same thing. Okay? So we talked about assimilation as the first step. Okay? The second stage, the second sound change, the second kind of sound change is palatalization. So palatalize is to make a sound into a palatal sound, right? To make a sound into a palatal sound. Palatal is the area after your alveolar ridge, if you remember, right? So to palatalize is to make it into that place of articulation, palatal, okay? So when a front vowel, this happens when a front vowel, E, especially E, okay? Or a wide glide, you glide from that same position, E, yeah, right? E or Y meets a neighboring alveolar consonant, okay? So a palatal fricative or an affricate will be created. Because front meet front will be kind of in that palatal area, okay? Alveolar sound plus a Y or an E will result in a palatal sound, fricative or affricate. So, for example, when you have T and the Y glide, you will have T hook, okay? The word mature, like this, okay? If you pronounce it slowly, which nobody does these days, you will pronounce it as mature, like that, mature, like that. But naturally speaking, it will be mature. So T plus Y here will result in the T hook, which is the affricate, like that, okay? This happens in words like, or phrases like won't you or don't you, right? Don't you. If you pronounce it carefully, it will be don't you, right? But in normal speech, when people pronounce it, you will have something like don't you, or even don't ya. Don't you do that, don't ya, right? Like that, because you have T plus a Y, and then T plus a Y, so it becomes don't ya, like that. Don't you dare, like that, right? Or on the other hand, if the first sound is voice, right, it is a D, right? Instead of a T, it's a voice. Then you have a D with a 3 like this, J sound. Could you, normally speaking or slowly speaking, will become could you do that for me? Or did you, right? Even did you. Instead of did you have did ya, right? Right? Did ya, did ya, right? You know, they are just the same, right? T hook and D number 3, they are the same in that one is voiceless, the other one is voice, because of the T or the D. So. When you have a T plus an E sound, a front vowel sound, you have a hook, okay? So words that end with T-I-O-N, you will have always the hook sound, nation, right? If you pronounce it slowly, which nobody does, nation. So when you pronounce it like naturally, nation, like that. So T plus E will become the hook. And then, or S plus E will become the hook as well. Gracious, the words that end with I-O-U-S, all those words, delicious, spacious, whatever shious you have, will be shus, okay? Instead of see us, okay? This is called palatalization because all these sounds, T hook, D3, and the hook here, they are all palatal sounds, okay? And in Korean, the same thing, right? Sushi, like that. This is S, this is the hook, right? palatalization. So this is the front vowel, right? E is the front vowel. So it's the palatalization of the Korean sound. Oh, talking about sushi. Last week I had to grade like the English Young essay for new coming 2015 students. So I graded like almost 300 papers. Yes, and it finished yesterday. And then next week we'll do interview, and then we'll just kick people out more. I think we need only 25 out of 1,500 or so, right? So, and you know, these guys are really good at English, the ones that we selected, and you know, and thinking that they are just high school students and they could write that well. Okay. So the next process is linking. Okay, linking is when you join two sounds together. Okay, when one word ends in a vowel, we talk about a vowel ending first, and the next word begins with a vowel. Then linking often occurs. Okay, so Y or W may be inserted between the two vowels. Okay, because we don't like two vowels together. We like one to be a consonant and then vowel afterwards. So you link either the Y or W. Okay, when one word ends in a vowel and the next word begins with a vowel. Okay, and linking can occur within the same word or across two words. Okay, so if the vowel is a front, so how do you know whether you insert Y or you insert W? It depends on what vowel you have in the first word. If the first word has a front vowel, okay, if a first word ends with a front vowel, then Y is inserted. So the word Seattle here, this happens within the same word. You have two syllables, right? Three syllables, Seattle, right? So Seattle, like this. So the city, right? So like that. Seattle, like that. Seattle, okay? Seattle, like that. Now, what happens is you see this is a vowel. This is a vowel, right? So we don't like two vowels together. So we want to stick in a consonant. Now, which one to stick in? Y or W? So it depends on what you have, right? In the first place. So you have E, which is a front vowel. So you insert a Y here between the two vowels. So you have consonant here. Okay? So when you pronounce it, you'll pronounce it like Seattle, 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 right? Seattle, like that, Seattle, okay? So you shouldn't pronounce it like Seattle, like that. So put in some linking with the Y, Seattle, Seattle, like that, okay? Or I am, like this, or I am, the phrase I am. So I am, like that, right? So we don't like the fact that there are two vowels together. Okay, we don't like that. So we need to break that sequence and put in a consonant. Now, which consonant to put in depends on what you have to start with. I, so sorry, I am. This is I, doesn't matter. So this is a front vowel, so you put in a Y. Okay? Y is always a front vowel. Y is a consonant, but it is associated with the front region of the mouth. So when you pronounce I am, so you say I am, right? I am. Okay, I am. So whatever front vowel you have, just stick in a Y if the next word begins with a vowel. We don't like two vowels together. This can happen within the same word or across two words, like I am, right? I am. Okay? Now, on the other hand, if the first vowel is a back vowel, oo, o, ah, like that. If it's a back vowel, then you insert a W sound in there. Okay? Because W is always back, right? So the word how about, you have how and then about, like that, right? How about, like that. Now, two vowels together, not good. So, and this is a back vowel, so you put in W. Okay? So when you pronounce it like how about, how about, how about, how about. Okay? Remember, keep in mind that this linking thing has to be a sequence of two vowels, okay? Not a vowel and a consonant, not like that, okay? Two vowels. And it depends on what vowel you have in the first word, okay? If it's a front vowel, then put in a Y. If it's a back vowel, put in a W, like that, okay? We'll practice more today. That's linking, okay? Now, linking number 2 is different. So linking number 1, you have two vowels in a row, okay? Linking number 2 is when you have a consonant and then a vowel. So that one is easy because you just drag the consonant to the next syllable, okay? This has to do with, remember last time we talked about syllabification. We don't like the coda, right? We don't like to end a word with a coda. So we push the consonant to the next syllable to be the onset. That's what we talked about last time. So like the word at all, okay? We don't like T to end here to be the coda of at. So we put it to be the onset of the next syllable. So instead of saying at all, we say at all, like that, okay? Or school again. We don't like to end it with a coda if we can. So we push it to the next syllable. So we have school again, like that. Okay? School again. Okay? So this is the linking type 2, in which the first word ends with a consonant, okay? Rather than a vowel like the case before. Okay, next process is insertion. Insertion is, of course, just the name suggests, when you insert some sound. Sorry, this hamster doesn't have the P, okay, in the spelling. But when in pronunciation, I just did it like automatically. So hamster, no P in the spelling, okay? When you pronounce this, people usually pronounce the P, hamster. The unreleased P, hamster. Because M is a bilabial sound, P is also a bilabial sound, you stick in the P, okay? Just to stop the sound. Hamster, like that. Or strength, this is actually the careful pronunciation, but some people usually put in the K sound, strength, like that, okay? Because K and the N with the tail, they match in terms of the place of articulation. They are vela sounds. And then news, the word news, like news that you watch on TV, like that, newspaper, like that. You can pronounce it with news without anything, or some people like to insert a Y, which is a glide sound, if it's before a U, okay? So you can pronounce it news or news, like that, doesn't matter. Or Tuesday, the day of the week, Tuesday, or Tuesday or Tuesday. Doesn't matter. So if you see that Y is also always inserted after an alveolar, N is an alveolar, T is also an alveolar, plus a U. So Y is stick in between, okay? Especially in British English. Even though in American English, people don't usually pronounce news or Tuesday like that, okay? And the insertion process explains why there are some silent letters in empty or Thompson versus Thompson, because people just spell things the way they actually pronounce. So you have empty because this is a P, just like the way I spelled that. Okay. Almost the last process is what we call elision. Elision is deletion, in other words, right? Elision from the verb to elide, E-L-I-D-E, to elide, to go out, right? Elision is the process in which a sound is deleted. In natural fast speech, regular speech that we use every day, like I'm using now, a sound may be deleted, okay? So interest, so becomes interest, okay? Interest become interest. So the schwa sound is gone, okay? So you have typically 3 syllables, right? Interest, like that. So in real pronunciation, this vowel is gone. So you have interest instead of interest. Interesting, like that, okay? Especially the schwa sound is deleted. Factory, okay? Factory. So factory. So schwa is gone again. So we have factory. I work at a factory, like that, instead of factory. Factory, okay? Factory. Or camera, right? Camera. So schwa is gone. Camera, like that, okay? Usually the schwa sound is deleted because schwa sound is a soft sound. It's not, a schwa sound happens in an unstressed syllable most of the time. When you don't stress it, it's deleted, okay? It's not important, right? And this explains some silent letters in English, like the word to know. You see there's no K. We don't pronounce it like know, like that. Or gnaw means to chew. Like your dog gnaws on a bone, like that. It's not gnaw, it's gnaw. Or answer, the W is not pronounced. It's not answer, okay? So in these cases, a consonant is deleted. But in these words, the schwa is deleted. Deletion also characterizes simplification of consonant cluster in everyday speech. So consonant cluster is a group of consonants, right? We don't like too many consonants because it's hard to pronounce. So the word grandma, for example, grandma, like that. In real careful pronunciation, grandma, right? So you see 1, 2, 3, N, D, and M, 3 sounds in a row. Okay, we don't like that. So what we do is we delete the middle sound. So you have grandma, like that. So you delete the middle. The middle is always deleted. If you want to delete something, you delete the middle, okay? If you have 3 sounds, you delete the middle. So it becomes grandma, like that. But then the next stage is, when the N is close to the M, assimilation can occur, right? Because they are both nasal sound. So you have grandma. So the N is gone because it turns into an M, okay? Grandma, like that. My grandma, like that. Softball, a kind of sport. Softball, there should be a T here. Softball, right? But in real pronunciation, T is deleted, okay? We don't say softball, we say softball, softball. So the middle one, T, is deleted, okay? Or the word clothes, in careful pronunciation, clothes, like that. But we usually delete the D with the bar, okay? Clothes, like that. Or George, the 5th throne, okay? You see how many sounds we have. We have the TH sound, the S, the TH, very difficult, okay? So we just say 5th throne, or even 5th throne, like that in normal speech, okay? Because it's really hard to pronounce. George the 5th throne, right? We don't have to try because in real life it's just 5th throne. Do you eat? Do you eat? So do you eat? Do you eat? Eat yet? Do you eat yet? So even eat yet? Eat yet? Eat yet? Eat yet? Real pronunciation. Because you see the D plus the Y, it will change to the palatalization, if you remember, right? The second one, okay? This is because do is an auxiliary, right? And we don't usually stress the auxiliary. So do changes to the, like that, chua, like that. And then sometimes chua is gone, right? So that's why you have D and the Y together. So it becomes ju, like that. Jeet, like that, okay? But when you pronounce it carefully, of course, you will do like do you, of course, right? Number 2, you and me. How would we pronounce that in real pronunciation? You and me, right? You and me. So you stick in the W here, right? Because you have, it's refocusing. You have the U, which is the back vowel, and you have another vowel sound, so you stick in a consonant. And this happened to be a back vowel, so you and me, right? You and me, you and me, you and me. So in pronunciation, maybe you have something like you and me, like that. You and me, okay? You and me, you and me. You and me, instead of you and her. You and me. And D is deleted, right? Because there are 3 consonants there, so D is deleted. You and me. Or even you and me, like that, because it becomes alike. So there are many things that are going on here, but the most important thing, it seems to be that we stick in a consonant. We insert a W, right, between you and, because, or else you have 2 vowels in a row, which we don't like. Okay? So number 3, stand there. This one seems to be just complex consonant cluster, right? So stand there. You have, let's see, stand there, like that, right? Right? So 1, 2, 3. So we usually delete the middle one. So stand there, stand there. We don't say stand there, right? Stand there. Right? When you have a series of 3 consonants, delete the middle one. Okay. Stand there. And this could be nasalized too, right? Because the N is nasal sound. So stand there, stand there. Okay? Number 4, comfortable. What do you think happens in this word? Comfortable, comfortable. That's how we pronounce it, comfortable, 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 even comfortable, like that. So comfortable, stress. So you see that there are many syllables that are gone, right? Instead of comfortable, right? So we have comfortable, comfortable, right? So deleted here are 2 schwas, okay? Comfortable, like that, okay? So we have comfortable, comfortable, comfortable. That's so comfortable. So deletion of the schwa sound, okay? So you have only maybe In real pronunciation, 2 syllables. Comfortable, 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 right? Comfortable, like that. Instead of comfortable, okay? We are talking about real pronunciation rather than careful pronunciation, okay? Because if it's careful pronunciation, you have comfortable like that, okay? What else do we have? Same thing with the next one, which is how do we pronounce it in real pronunciation? Temperature, right? Temperature. So instead of temperature, we have temperature, right? So deletion again, right? So we have, can I write here? So temperature, like that, right? That's careful pronunciation. Temperature, temperature. So delete this. Temperature, temperature, right? So a syllable is gone in fast pronunciation, temperature. So measure the temperature. What's the temperature? Right? And people even just pronounce the first syllable. What's the temp? Like that. Okay. Just a short word as a shortcut. Okay. Next one, happy or sad? What do you think happens in here? Happy or sad? We link, right? We link because this is a vowel and this is a vowel. So it ends with E, happy, right? So you stick in a Y, right? So happy is like this. So happy or sad, right? So 2 vowels, not good. So you stick in a Y. So you have happy or sad, happy or sad. Oops. Happy or sad, happy or sad. Rather than happy or sad, we have happy or sad, okay? Happy or sad. Action planning. What about action planning? Can you try to pronounce it? Action planning. Action planning. Action planning. N goes to M. So action planning, right? Because to match the P, okay? So N changes to M here. Action planning, action planning, action planning, right? Action planning. We have to do some action planning. Okay? Come market. This one, come market, come market, come market. So it's common market, right? Market, like that, right? So this N will change to M. So come market, come market, come market, okay? To match the M. So that's assimilation, okay? Come market, come market. Come market. Of course, in careful pronunciation, common market. But in fast pronunciation, come market, come market. Okay? Next one, that man. That man. That man. In careful pronunciation, of course, that man, right? But that man, right? In fast speech, that man, because you change it to a P to match the M, to match the bilabial sound. That man. Who is he? That man there. That man there, right? So assimilation again, okay? What else do we have? This shop. In careful pronunciation, of course, we say this shop, right? This shop. But in real pronunciation, in everyday speech, we do it just this shop, right? So this shop. This shop. So S is gone, right? And then you only have the hook. This shop, this shop, this shop. Where is that? Oh, I went to this shop. I went to this shop. Okay. Again, whatever sound change that happens is because we want to make the pronunciation easier. Okay. This shop. She needs you. How would you do it? She needs you. She needs you. Right? Needs you. So you have needs like that and you. That's careful pronunciation, right? Needs you. So when you have a Z plus a Y, palatalization, right? So you have needs you, right? Needs you, right? Needs you, needs you. Z plus Y becomes this, right? So needs you. She needs you. She needs you. She needs you. She needs you. Right? Needs you. Needs you. Needs you. I told you. I told you. Same as almost the same as I told you. So it's told you. Told you. I told you. Right? I told you. Told you. She? She. Okay. Next one, we don't have a lot of time, so I'll just go fast. That's your. So T plus Y will be T hook. Okay. Is that your dog? Is that your dog? Is that your dog? T plus Y will have the palatalization. Okay. Needs you, we already did that. This year, S plus Y. Remember? S plus Y. So this year. This year. What did you do this year? This year. This year. Like that. S plus Y. Same thing, palatalization. This year. This year. That's how people really pronounce. This year. This year. So S plus Y will become the palatal sound. Okay? This year. Winter. Real pronunciation, winter. But in everyday speech, winter will become winter in the winter. So T is gone. T becomes 0. Okay? So you have like winter, like this. In the winter, instead of in the winter, right? In the winter, like that. T is gone. T becomes 0. Deletion, in this case, deletion. Waste of time. Waste of time. In this case, You know, of, the word of is a V. In careful pronunciation, the word of is of, okay? But in just everyday conversation, V usually changes to F because of the devoicing of the V to F, okay? Because this T is a voiceless sound. So waste of time, okay? And one more step is that this is just to share with you, because preposition is never stressed, right? Preposition is never stressed. So people usually delete the whole thing. So people only say waste of time, waste of time. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Rather than waste of time. So it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. So even the F is gone at the end, meaning in really fast pronunciation. Waste of time. It's really waste of time. Waste of time to do that. Waste of time. The next word, Toronto. Toronto. In fast speech, T is deleted. T goes to 0. So we say Toronto in Toronto. Toronto. T goes to 0. Deletion. In Toronto. In Toronto, like that. Last one, in Canada. In here usually changes to the vela, N with the tail. So in Canada, like that. Okay? Because K is a vela sound. Okay? In Canada. In Canada. In Canada. Like that. In Canada. In Canada. Okay? Assimilation, right? So you can see that there are many sound changes that happen, and I don't expect you to know everything, but what I want to do here is to share with you how people really pronounce it. There's no one way because it depends on the speed, it depends on the setting, whether it's formal or informal, whether they are careful or whether they are more casual in the pronunciation. So waste of time, for example, people usually say waste of time. It's waste of time. Okay? And people never think about, oh, how should I pronounce this? They just do this naturally, okay? And it doesn't mean that these versions, winner, is the correct or not correct, but that's just natural, how people pronounce it naturally, okay? Just like these Korean words here, okay? You see the careful or correct pronunciation on the left hand, and you see the real pronunciation on the right hand, right? You guys can do it better than me, I'm sure. So 한국말, which is Korean, right? Korean language. So do you pronounce it like 한국말, 한국말, like that? 한국말, in casual pronunciation, 한국말. So in this case, you see the K, which is this stop K, right? Stop becomes iung, right? Which is a nasal sound. So you can say that that's assimilation. Because this is a nasal sound. Nasal assimilation. Okay? 한국말 instead of 한국말. Right? 듣는, to listen, right? 듣다, right? 듣는. So again, we have assimilation of the nasal feature because you have the niun here in the next syllable. So the stop will change to nasal too. So assimilation too, same thing happens here. Nasal assimilation. 듣는. I don't know what the next word is. 밥무. Okay? 밥무. So 펌무. Right? Again, assimilation, right? The bu changes to mu, right? So nasal assimilation, same thing. Next one, chinla, shilla. So shilla, that's how you pronounce it, right? So in this case, the niun changes to ryul, right? So assimilation. Maybe place of articulation. Place of articulation. So niun alveolar changes to R, which is the retroflex. Okay. Next one is a good example. The word kachi together, right? Kat instead of kati, right? It's kachi, right? So what happens here? Ji is the affricate sound. So you have palatalization. Because you have the front vowel here and you have the affricate sound, maybe this one, kachi, or I'm not sure, or that one. Before the front vowel E, okay? So you have kachi instead of kati. So T, this is a T plus E, right, that we study, palatalization. Manayo, right? I don't know if I pronounce it. Manayo. In this case, the here is gone, so deletion. Deletion and then linking, right? So you link the N, the niun, to the next syllable plus linking. Okay? Deletion plus linking. There are so many things like this that happen in Korean that I just don't understand. And I need to learn from you guys, from my students actually, how to pronounce the words. And this shows you that the English word is here and the Korean pronunciations are here. So spy, this is the unaspirated P, style, ski, and cola, right? Cola. So aspirated K as well because that's where the stress is, okay? But in Korean, you have spy becomes supai, style, style, ski, ski, and cola, whatever. I cannot do it. So what happens? You see the insertion of a vowel, especially this vowel, the kind of the like E sort of thing. We haven't studied this vowel with the bar here, right? So that's what you guys do. Spy. Insertion of vowel between two consonant sounds, okay? Like S and P, you break it up and you insert a vowel here, okay? Supai, like that. Supai. Make sure that you know how to transcribe the words that you see here on this handout and also on the homework as well. So we'll do a transcription on the quiz, okay? And so that's for that handout. And the second handout that I pass out is the handout for the stress and for the intonation and stuff. So that will be on the quiz as well. So if you remember the kind of observations that we did in class, some suffixes, right? Some suffixes like E, like this, right? Some suffixes will have the stress before them, on them, or two syllables before them. So absenteeism, in this case, you remember the EE is the suffix from French that is always stressed. So the stress will be there. So absenteeism, right? Absentee, interviewee, like that. Amputee, whatever ends in E, like amputee. So you'll have the stress there, okay? Amputee is the person whose leg or whose hand is cut, right? So amputate is to cut. So amputee, like that. So the stress will be on the EE, employee, like that. Like that, the EE. EE is like the past participle form, passive voice, employed. Employee is the person who is employed, okay? Administration, like TION, where's the stress? The syllable right before it, right? So administration, like that. Television, like that, and so on, okay? Buccaneer, EER, always stress there, like that. Like engineer, like this, okay? NEER, always stress. Amortization, TION, the syllable before it, so say, right? Amortization, sation, like that. 5, preferential, IAL, the syllable before it, preferential, like that, okay? 8, IATE, so the syllable before it, differentiate, like that. As the same as IOUS, the syllable before it, prestigious, like that. Okay, so you do things like that. So remember that there are some suffixes that would guide you as to where the stress would fall, right? Communication, so here ION, the syllable before it, cation, like that. Right? All, right? Flexibility, ET, right? And so on. Flexibility, like that, right? So the syllable before ET, and so on, okay? So that's for next week. And so that's the stress in the word, and you have stress in the sentence. You have to know which words are stressed and which words are not stressed, right? So the words that are stressed are content words like, for example, nouns, verbs, adjective, adverbs. And everything else will be unstressed. So this is the paper I bought yesterday morning, right? So you have which words are stressed? Paper bought yesterday morning, like that. Okay. Only the words that are important, right? We say content words. It's essential to describe animal properly, right? Like that. So people don't usually pay attention to the word like to. It's essential to describe, even like very, very soft. It's essential to describe like that. Or number 3, I was told one should see the British Museum, like that. So I was told. So told will be stressed. One should see the British Museum, like that. Okay. Told one should see the British Museum. To think, shall have time for that, like that. Okay. And you do the same for everything. Okay, I will send out the answer key during the week. And finally, we talked about some intonation patterns, right? You have maybe 2 to select. Is rising, falling, and then the falling tone. You have only 2 in English, right? Rising and falling is for statements, for things that you are certain. Certain. To indicate certainty or WS questions. And I'm sorry, this is the rising. And for rising, at the end, just yes/no question, series of things to choose from, and also uncertainty. Okay, only like they are the opposite of each other. Okay. So, for example, in this conversation, Mike and Jane are having a conversation. What's the matter? Here, WS question. So you have rising and then falling, right? So what's the mat? So that's the word stress, right? And then down. So what's the matter? Like that. What's the matter? Like that. Okay. Jane would say just a statement. I lost my key. So this is again rising and falling tone. Key. The word key is the noun, so it receives stress, and then so that's rising and then falling at the end because it's just a statement. So I lost my keys. Okay. Which keys? So the BUH question, right? So rising and falling. My car keys, rising and falling again. Okay. So just like that. But if you look at the second one, it starts off with the yes/no question, right? Are you going to the carnival tomorrow? In this case, you have the rising because it's a yes/no question. Tomorrow, like that. Are you going to the carnival tomorrow? So rising. In the second one, you have a series of things to choose from, right? The word or, the word and, the word but. You have series of things joined by conjunctions. In this case, you have two patterns. Do you want soup? So here you have rising. Do you want soup? Because it's not finished. Do you want soup or salad? Like that. And then in this case, you can fall. You want soup or salad? Same as the next one, right? I'll have two pencils. I'll have two pencils. So rising, because it's a series. A black pen, rising, and some ink, down, because it's the end. Okay. I'll have two pencils. You have to raise it up because it's not finished. Have two pencils, a black pen, and some ink, and down at the end. Same as the last one. We went to Paris, Brussels, Amsterdam, and London. Okay? So up, 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 and then down at the end. When you have a series, okay? Because the rising means that you are not finished, you are not certain like that. So you have to have the rising intonation like that. So I'll send out the answer key over the weekend by email. And next week we'll come back and do the quiz and also go on to morphology.